I'm just waiting. It's like, 8:50. I'm like, this doesn't seem to be ending. Looked at the time, and it says it's a 42-minute video with like 30 minutes left to go. I was like, oh yeah, this ain't gonna finish in time. So I better go get ready. And then I got ready.
Good job, Joe. Way to be on top
Thank
of
you.
it.
I'm trying. Some days it's all you have to do is just try.
So I was trying to find it again. Not that it's a topic I was gonna oh, we should talk about this, but it just reminded me of a lot of fond memories.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it got me thinking. 'Cause someone was talking about how people now will glorify Blockbuster.
Oh, are we getting nostalgia glasses for Blockbuster?
Yeah, people are like, I don't know, it's weird. I don't know why. I don't even know how this came up. I don't know if it's trending or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But people were on. I think it was a subreddit that I saw. It started with someone asking, "Do you remember when you um when you switched from video rental to like Netflix, obviously because it was like the only real DVD delivery service back then. I mean, obviously Blockbuster later tried it themselves, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And then to streaming, and it was like this big thread. It had like 17,000 replies. It was just ridiculous. I don't even follow whatever the group it was. It was just on the popular ones pop up on the main page when I went looking for
Yeah.
something. Actually, I think I went back from looking at something from Starfield or something.
Nice.
And I was reading it, and like it just got me thinking of like the evolution of going from the mom and pop. Because this one guy was on there and he made this video that like straight up he was real angry. Like it was, I don't know if it was misplaced rage or what it was, but he was like, "Hey, y'all need to like not glorify Blockbuster." And he was going ham on it.
Hmm.
But he was the whole thread was like someone started talking. It was like the number one up, or what hit the video was the number one upvoted comment. But the next one down, which was like an older post, was a guy talking about how he remembers going from his local mom and pop video shop
Mm-hmm.
to a Blockbuster. He said Blockbuster and Hollywood Video, because he had two, but Hollywood Video, we all know, sucked assholes.
It sucked, and I don't know if it ran concurrently like right away.
No, no, no,
In
no.
some places, I don't know where it started, but I know here in Arizona, we got Hollywood Video towards the tail end of Blockbuster. But anyway,
Yeah,
continue.
and then he went to like talking about Netflix, and then even trying the Blockbuster one, whatever. But this video guy was talking about how like the people are like you know glorifying Blockbuster and how their selection sucked. The people weren't great. Blah blah blah. Like they got rid of the mom and pop shops because they were obviously bigger and blah blah blah. Which wasn't the big thing to me, but I was like, this guy seems real angry about this. I don't know if his parents owned a mom and pop rental place
Mm-hmm.
or what it was, but it got me thinking of like when I remember. I don't know why I distinctly remember the transitions of like going from we went to Hollywood Video because the Blockbuster was too far away,
Mm-hmm.
and at the time, well, I was driving, but we didn't really go that direction. We would go because we had like a thing. We'd go get movies and pizza,
Yeah. Right.
and the movie place we went to before, with oddly enough the pizza place was literally we've talked about this before, like catty corner from the apartments I lived in.
Right.
So we would go, we would find videos at Videos R Us is what it was called. Can't remember the dude's name that owned it, but he was awesome
Yeah.
because he let us rent R-rated movies when we shouldn't have.
Nice.
It had the curtained off area with the naughty stuff in it.
Ooh, yeah.
We
I
weren't allowed
remember
in
those.
there. He was a little. He's like, I know about that.
Yeah. No. There's certain things you can't do. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's actually the place we rented our very first DVD player from.
Ooh.
Yeah, he had him. He's like, hey, this is a new thing. We
Player.
have a few movies on DVD. And I was like, what the fuck is a DVD? And then he's like, "Well, you rent this. If you rent this, you can check them out." And I think we watched like I don't remember what we watched, but I remember getting it. But anyways, so we would go to Videos R Us. We'd pick out a couple movies. We would go across the street like dumb idiots, jaywalking, even though the crosswalk is literally like 10 feet that way.
Yeah.
Let's get hit by a car. We would go. We would order a pizza. It wouldn't be ready. We would go back across the street, jaywalking yet again, because convenience, to the 7-Eleven that was right there, or to Tony's Liquors and Guns if we were getting like bottles or
Guns?
like so yeah, liquors and gun. But he had that's where we first discovered Fago before I knew it was an ICP
Oh.
thing.
Wow,
Cause
okay.
Tony, which I don't even think is his real name, but everyone called him Tony. But Tony's Liquors and Guns. It was Tony's Liquor before, and then he added the guns many years later, I think. But anyhow, we would go over there. We'd get Fago because he sold the leader ones, and as I didn't know what Fago was. I thought it was some weird off brand, but he's from Illinois.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
So
From that area.
yeah, so he's out like I can't remember like where in Illinois, but he's from Illinois, and so he would tell us all about it. He'd also make fun of us for getting a regular pizza, but I'm like, I don't know where to get your Chicago pizza from. But we would go there. He would have his selection of candy was overpriced compared to like 7-Eleven. So a lot of times we'd go get Fago there, or I don't remember the name of that root beer we would get there. Some other brand, I don't remember. But it came in what the bottle looked like a barrel. It was pretty funny.
Barrel root beer?
It might be barrel root beer. I can't remember.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I just remember it because it was all texturized, but it was a weird bottle because it was flat, but we had the little bottle top to it.
Yeah.
So you're always like when you're trying to get the last bit, you're trying to roll it around to get it to go off that flat edge like a dummy. And it poured like terribly too because that lip. Anyhow, so we'd go there. We'd go to 7-Eleven, get snacks, whatever. A lot of times we'd do bag nachos before everyone apparently thought that was a fucking good idea. Then we'd go back over and the pizza should be ready. Grab pizza, go home. I remember that. And then we discovered Blockbuster Video. Well, I mean, I always say we discovered Blockbuster Video because we had one, but then they built a Hollywood Video, which again, terrible. Hollywood Video has always been terrible. But it was literally down the street. Like you could get there in like 5-ish minutes. Plus, it was across from a place called Uranus, which is hilarious. But they did a thing where if you got 3 movies, you'd get a bag of popcorn, microwave popcorn. But then they also let you do 2 movies in a game and get the popcorn. So we do that all the time, and then we pick up a pizza, and then we found out there's a Pizza Hut that was right over there too. Not discovered. We remembered there's a Pizza Hut over there, so we could do Pizza Hut as well because my brother loved Pizza Hut back in the day.
Really good.
Yeah, this is back in the day when they had buffets, so like that shit was like
so like that shit's good. Yeah.
peak Pizza Hut.
Peak the Hut.
Yep, good one, Joe.
Yep.
It's the name of the episode. Peak the Hut.
Peak the Hut.
Yep. Peak of the Hut. So we do that all the time, and then I remember, and this is the one I don't know why I remember this so fondly, but we saw a thing. My brother saw it like it was like on a chat room somewhere or something. Someone talking about Netflix and how if you like TV shows, you could get. I can look up what year this was. I don't remember it was because I remember it was. We had heard someone was telling us about this new show Breaking Bad, and the second season was about to start. I didn't know what Breaking Bad was at the time. This is infancy of the internet, so I didn't have all that. And like, yeah, it's really good. The first season is only like 10 or 12 episodes long. It was shorter. And they're like, yeah, I got it through Netflix. And we're like, what the fuck is a Netflix?
Right.
I'm thinking, is it another like Hollywood Video place or whatever, right? And my brother Dustin, who's like, no, it's like you like get movies and stuff sent to you on DVD. At this point, we had a DVD player. Many years later, obviously, and we had an awesome JVC. Did I ever tell you about my JVC DVD player we got?
No, I don't think so.
Bro, dude, so we got it at Silo, which I don't think you've ever heard of before. It's an electronics store.
No, I actually think I have heard of it, but it's not an Arizona company. It's a California company.
It
right?
was, yeah, and it went away with the advent of Best Buy. But I still hold a little bit of anger in Best Buy for getting rid of my Silo Electronics. Bought a lot of things from Silo. But what was cool about, again, tangent, Silo is you go and you have physical displays on the shelf you could touch and look at. So you could look at plugs, you could look at wires, all that fun stuff, right? That like you and I love. And then you take a tag off the little thing, have a little tear pad, and the tear pad had the exact amount of quantity they had in the store. So you take that, you go to the register, you pay, and then you go stand in the waiting area, and a conveyor belt brings your order out.
Okay.
I loved it. I don't know why. I loved it, but it was like you waited, and you're like, oh, there's our JVC DVD player. We saved up money for it because it was like $200 something. But the thing was, it was a 3-disc changer. Had 3 trays, not like one big tray, 3 trays, and you can. Our favorite thing was we would rent TV shows and anime. We would load up the 3 discs, and you could play all of them in a row.
So you wouldn't have to switch discs in order to get to the new episodes.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
So we would, when we discovered Netflix, we were like, well, this is obviously pretty rad. Because they send them right to us, and the whole process is, you watch a movie, as soon as you're done, you put it in the mail, it gets scanned, your next one on your list comes out. So like everybody, your DVD, your queue was enormous, and you don't remember what was coming, and if it wasn't available, it just goes to the next one or whatever, right? So I remember we did this, we signed up, and you could get 5 free, as a trial, 5 free rentals from Netflix, and we got Breaking Bad, which was only 3 discs, I think, at the time for season 1. I can't remember. I'd have to look it up. Yeah, something like that. And I remember, I think it was 3. The reason I think it was 3 is because I think we loaded all 3 trays with it. Like, it was disc 1, disc 2, disc 3. But disc 1 was scratched.
Oh no!
So it wouldn't play. So Netflix had a thing where you say, hey, like, this is scratched. Can I get another one? And they would just instantly ship you one out and just send the other one back.
Yeah.
So we had to wait for that, but I remember doing that, and then, I think that was like that, and we got some anime stuff or something that we didn't own, on DVD at the time, from them, and because I think we were getting like OVAs, which are the movies, for shows that we watched. Like I think we got like might have been a Dragon Ball one or something. Don't remember what they were. But I remember that because that was our death note for like Hollywood Video and Blockbuster. We're like, wait, hold on, we don't have to.
This house.
Yeah, we don't. They shipped to a house. They have. It seemed like they always had everything in stock, and this was the hottest movie ever. And then they were out, whatever, right? But like, we never had to have that gamble of going down to Hollywood Video and do they have what we want?
Yes.
And at the time, the only reason we kept Hollywood Video membership is because they had video games,
right? And
we'd go and rent Nintendo 64 games and shit, that we weren't gonna buy because neither of us had a job,
right?
I think at that time, a real job. We didn't mean a job, but like a real job. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We worked at a bowling alley, so it wasn't like we had fucking tons of money. And I just remember when I was reading through this subreddit, I just remember that like that timeline in my brain, and it could be a little skewed of how off it is. But I just remember like Netflix like was the one that basically like, and obviously streaming was much later down the line. But I just remember like being fully invested in Netflix, and just like every day we'd go on there and add tons of stuff to our queue, and then it'd be like a random thing and be like, oh, I really want this, so you'd have to move it up or whatever. And I just remember like just reading through the subreddit, and I was like, this is why people are on here, and it's got like 17,000 fucking comments or whatever. And the one upvoted not the video, but the dude who actually made it a worthwhile thread to be on, or a subreddit to be on, I should say. His had like 300,000 something upvotes, right? But I just remember I was reading through this, and it just, that timeline just like dropped in my brain, and I was like, dude, I remember that so well. And I remember we were getting Breaking Bad because our friend, after we found out about it online or something, he was like, no, you have to watch it because the second season is about to come out. And so we were we were waiting to get, and they just fortuitously he told us about Netflix, and we're like, oh, let's get that. And we were able to get the first season, which might have been 4 discs. I don't remember what it was, but it was multiple discs because it wasn't as long as the other seasons, because it was a mid-season replacement, if I'm not mistaken. And I was like, dang, this show's so good. We probably shouldn't be watching it because we're pretty young.
No.
But, whatever. And it was just then I realized why all these people were being nostalgic about it, because I was like, oh, that's I did the same thing. It just, because we're in that age where we don't look back at Hollywood Video and Blockbuster and be like, oh, those are the good old days. We remember because it was an access to all this content we couldn't get, because I don't know about you, but my family didn't have, we didn't do pay-per-view movies.
No, we didn't do either. I mean, I think we've done like 1 or 2 throughout the year. Well, okay. I mean, you can finish your thought, and I'll finish. I'll take off on mine.
So,
all that.
And we're always big at going to Videos R Us, because that was our jam, because we could get whatever we wanted. We could watch older movies that we never seen, or weren't allowed to see in theaters because my parents were pretty ridiculous about letting us, even with them, to go see R-rated movies in theaters, even though we would be at home and we could watch it on like HBO.
Right.
Was it because like it didn't make them look like bad parents because they brought their children to an R-rated movie? I remember my mom tried to cover my eyes during Terminator 2 because the part when Arnie cuts the skin and pulls the skin off his arm, she was like trying to cover my eyes. I was like, bro, I've seen him throw a fucking buzzsaw blade into a dude's brain, and you're trying to cover a robot arm?
I'm pretty sure the only time my parents ever did that were like at like unexpected sex scenes. It's like, oh, nudity, no.
Yeah.
But violence, yeah, fine, whatever.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing? Get your hand out of my face. I was like, I literally watched this motherfucker explode a human being.
Right.
Like, and you're worried about a fucking gooey looking metal arm? I don't know what she was thinking. Like, she was like, oh god. I was like, get out of here. What's wrong with you? Anyways, so I thought it was pretty cool, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna talk to Joe about that because that is rad.
It is pretty rad. The worst thing for me is, like, I remember the times having different video places to go to. I just don't necessarily remember the reasons why we went to different places. Going back to the video on demand thing, or pay-per-view, my parents never would buy pay-per-view movies, had never bought pay-per-view movies, but I say there's a caveat to that because for a good chunk of the late 80s to mid 90s, my dad worked as a maintenance man over at an apartment complex,
mm-hmm.
and they had satellite. So all the employees got free satellite and access to all the pay-per-view that they wanted. So I remember watching like Ghostbusters when it came out on pay-per-view, and we recorded that shit onto VHS.
Oh yeah, dog.
I think that video still exists somewhere. Or even like watching pay-per-view events. I remember seeing some like sporting events on pay-per-view way back in the day on there. So yeah, they never bought that stuff, but I did have access to pay-per-view stuff because my dad, worked as head maintenance over at an apartment building. But once we moved out of that apartment building, we still had, we switched over to Cox by that time. And yeah, the pay-per-view was just too expensive to buy anything. So even while we lived in the apartments, we still went to a local place. I actually don't remember what the name of the place was, but it was literally right. You know the apartment buildings that I'm talking about,
yeah,
because we've driven past them and I pointed them out. And then right across the street was actually a local video store that we would go to, and your description of those places is exactly mine. You know, they're small, family owned video places with the curtained off area in the back that hides the naughty stuff.
Yeah, buddy.
But much like you, my parents would pretty much allow me to rent anything that I wanted within reason, I think. Obviously, I'm not renting any, like, straight horror gore type stuff. My parents weren't big on horror movies back in the day. They're still not really big on horror movies. My dad has a saying that he won't let anybody watch, like, The Conjuring or anything in his house.
That's fair.
It's fair, whatever. But action movies were allowed, totally.
Of course, yeah.
So yes, any Arnold Schwarzenegger violent action movie, Sylvester Stallone, Bruce Willis. Hell, my dad's probably watching it with me because he loved all those things. But after that, I don't know what happened. The place must have closed down. And then the next place that we started going to was a place called KJ Video. I do remember that one because at the time there was a basketball player in Phoenix known Kevin Johnson, KJ. So it's easier for me to remember what the name of that place was. KJ Video, another small mom and pop shop that we would go to. I don't really remember much about that place either. I know exactly where it was. So we drove over there, and if that little strip mall still exists, I know exactly where it is. But it's right there where things get a little fuzzy of, like, I don't remember why we left that place and started going to Blockbuster. It could have been because of membership stuff. It could have been because of deals that Blockbuster runs, I don't remember if they I don't remember what type of deals they run, but they probably ran stuff like, get free popcorn or something like that, or just had a better selection of things and games like you mentioned. So we used to go to the Blockbuster for the longest time, and same deal with you. Like Saturday was always pizza day for my family, so we'd get pizza. I don't think we'd necessarily go get movies unless it was the summer. That was always big for us. I'm staying at home. I want something to do. So every week I would get to go rent a movie and a video game from Blockbuster. Getting into when Netflix comes into play, though, I don't think, somebody in my family did use Netflix, but we didn't use it as extensively as everyone else, or as like you, where you made your queue and you had stuff. I remember someone had Netflix. It might have been my brother, but I didn't really care for it. I'm still getting physical media. I have to wait for it. I think the reason why I never caught on to it is because I still had to wait for it in order to come in the mail.
Yeah.
When I could just go to Blockbuster and probably pick it up right now. So I think that was always my reasoning for not jumping on the Netflix bandwagon when it first launched. It wasn't until they started doing streaming that it was like, okay, now I can get it even faster than just hopping in my car and going to go get it. So yeah, I wasn't an early Netflix adopter like you guys were. I even remember going over to your house way back in the day, and you'd have Netflix DVDs.
Oh yeah.
There.
Yeah, because
it just wasn't something I was doing at the time.
Yeah, the way we worked is we had so many things on there. It was more like make sure to put the movie we've watched in, so by the time, because you would get it within a couple days, but we had it down to where we would never not have them, because we would watch something, dump it in the mail the next day, and then still have stuff to watch. So it was this always repeating, we'd always be getting them in.
And I think that's a difference between you and I. Is I'm more of a what do I feel in the moment type thing,
Oh yeah, no, I'm not me. No.
and you could just be more of the I will watch whatever I have available
Yeah.
at the time. So you made obviously you made a list, and once you get that list going, that's where the benefit of Netflix is from, or at the service at the time was, because like you said, as long as you remember through, I'm done watching and just eat that thing into the mailbox.
Yep.
The next
Exactly.
one is there by the time that you're ready to watch it. Essentially, I never had a. I don't think I'm the type of person that watches a movie, and I pretty much won't watch it again unless some years down the road it might be on TV, or I might just get the feeling to watch it. So I'm not that type of person that's going to sit there and make a list of movies that I want to see and then just watch them as they come in type of thing.
Yeah.
I have to be in the mood for that particular movie, and it has to be a movie that I haven't seen in a very long time if I want to watch it again. Yeah. So yeah, then Netflix, then Blockbuster went. Or so I would also say at the same time, we moved to Surprise. Blockbuster didn't have a store in Surprise, but Hollywood Video did.
Yeah.
And we were one of the ones that had the Hollywood Video plus game something.
Yeah.
They were owned by this. Yeah, it was owned by the same company, but they were like two different stores. But they
Yeah.
still had a door in between them
Yeah.
that you could go in between. So we eventually did transition to Hollywood Video, more of just because of convenience. It was there. There
Yeah.
was no other Blockbuster around us. But you're right. Like, it wasn't great. By that time, all physical media stores or rental places were kind of on the downslope, and we used it mostly as a place to rent video games from rather than really renting movies from. Yeah.
It was.
But it's interesting
not
you
good.
also mentioned, like, what's your first DVD player? And honestly, I don't remember what our first DVD player necessarily was. I think it was a Denon surround sound system. I don't know why. I don't remember why. I think it was my mom wanted it. It was a 5.1 Denon surround sound system, like one of those all-in-one things with the, it has the amp and everything built into the DVD player, and then you had these like little small rectangular
Satellite speakers.
satellite speakers.
Yeah, buddy.
It was really cool, but it's one of those things where my mom wanted it. We went down to Ultimate Electronics
Hell yeah, dude.
to buy it. Much like your Silo Electronics, if you've ever been to an Ultimate Electronics way back in the day, you could, like, they had a nice showroom. It was very upscale feeling.
Yep.
You
felt
Denon
fancy.
is a more boutique, or at least back in the day, really was more of a boutique company. A little bit less right now, but still a very good company. And I remember us walking out with that big box and setting it up, and didn't even really set up the surround sound correctly. Like, it was more of, that's what I don't understand, of like, we had it, but then I think my parents just kind of like half-assed the surround sound. But it wasn't really a thing. It was a thing back then, obviously, to have surround sound, and it was a fancy thing, but it was also just that thing where there weren't like real good guides of like how to set speakers and stuff like that. Maybe in the instruction manuals there were, but who reads instruction manuals, really? So I remember just like, I think back on it, like the setup that I have right now versus that setup, it's just like, oh, we just basically threw speakers everywhere back then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it sounded cool because you got surround sound on the DVDs, but it probably should have been a lot better with the placement and whatnot. Yeah, that was pretty funny. I think even one of them sat behind a couch, because we had like an L-shaped couch, and we had the speaker stands. My mom also bought speaker stands at the time. and I think one of the rear channels just like sat behind the couch on a speaker stand, but like it wasn't even high enough to really clear the couch. It was just like right there at the top of the couch. You know, the top of the speaker was like right there at the top of the couch, if I remember correctly. It's like it's there, it makes noise, but like what's it really doing at that point? You know?
Yeah.
So I remember that being pretty funny. Now looking back on it now.
Heathens back then. You were heathens, Joseph.
Yes, we were. But yeah, that was only a single DVD player. But I remember it being slow. I mean, it was fast for the time.
Yeah.
But we had that thing for years, and I think we actually even used this once the DVD player itself quit. We still used the speakers attached to a cheap receiver at one point, and then somebody inherited I think my brother inherited them, and then they just disappear after that.
They're probably in a box somewhere.
Box or landfill or something like that. Yeah.
I wonder if
It's an interesting trip down memory lane. I still have a Blockbuster card. Oh, I know where it is.
I have mine somewhere too, because I have a box of fucking, hey, look at all these fucking card thingies that we used to have.
It's actually in my fire safe. Not because I'm trying to protect my Blockbuster card, but because I pulled everything out when I switched to a smaller, thinner wallet years and years and years ago. Like I wasn't carrying this Blockbuster card around, you know, for the past 10 years.
That's what I heard.
I used to have one of those wallets way back in the day, like everybody else had, that had like the little plastic card sleeves in them.
Hell yeah, dog.
Right? So when I switched to a smaller wallet, I kind of threw all of the cards that I don't need but wanted to keep. Like I have a blood donor card, and when you were born in Jamestown, I used to also have a birth certificate card, like an actual card birth certificate, not a full-on certificate.
Well, it's because there's 14 and a half people in that fucking city or town.
That's
or whatever.
True. I don't have that anymore because of when I went and got my passport. I thought that would be a legal thing to send them, and they would send it back. No, they kept it. And then it turned out not to be a legal thing to be able to send them for your passport. I had to literally go get an actual birth certificate and send it to them.
They kept it?
They kept it, yeah. So I don't have it anymore.
That's fucking wild.
It's kind of dumb because it was actually like it was one of those like cards too, where they would run it through a machine, and then the machine would like force push up into it to make the like your name and whatever else information was on there. So like it was an actual physical hard card too, not just like a floppy paper card or anything.
Weird.
But anyway, so yeah, I took all that stuff out of my wallet, and I was just like, haha, Blockbuster card, this is funny, haha, and I threw it in there too, and threw it in my fire safe. So I literally could go grab it right now.
Wild.
It's funny. That's wild indeed. But yeah, that was basically my childhood with movies and whatnot.
It's good times.
Right? I remember also during the summer how I would prepare for a movie, you know. Everyone would be gone for the day for work, or yeah, I think pretty much everybody for work. My mom used to have this wicker chair that I'd push in front of the TV, you know, like a good between 5 to 10 feet away from the TV. I'd make my popcorn in a big tub with real butter. I had like a plastic Harkins cup, and I would pour a bunch of soda into it with ice and stuff, so I have the authentic movie experience.
Hell yeah, dog. And
hit play and just watch movies like that. Like my own personal home theater system, surround sound and everything.
Surround soundish.
Soundish. What's funny too is the only, like, I remember doing that for every movie I watched, but the only movie I remember watching like that is Event Horizon. And there's a reason why I really remember that movie. Because it was
fucking terrifying. Yeah, because it's fucking terrifying.
I remember watching that movie and going, "This is so good. Oh my god, his eyes are out. What the fuck? This is scary as fuck.
Why does he have no skin?
Why does he have no skin? Oh my god, this is terrifying." And that's the only movie that has stuck with me. Of like, I know that I watched it like that.
There have
Yeah.
only been 3 movies in my entire existence on this earth. I'm not gonna give you a number, but it's above what most people think.
Mm-hmm.
It's Event Horizon,
Mm-hmm.
the Abyss,
I can see that.
and what was the name of that fucking movie? Oh my god, I've only seen it a couple times because it literally just it gives it like something in my soul like
I have two of those
hurts.
movies.
I can't remember.
Event
Go ahead.
Horizon is one of them. The other one is The House.
Oh yeah, that's a
I
good one
went
too.
into that movie. I didn't rent that movie. That movie showed up on UPN, I think is what it was called back in the day, or is WGN. I can't remember if they had made the switch by by that point. But I went into that movie thinking, "Oh, it's on TV. This will be fun." The description was just like, "Ha ha, horror movie, ghost movie. This will be fun." No, man, that shit was terrifying, and yet I watched it all the time. I remember talking to Mike about that movie, about how so innocuous that movie was to watch, and like you go back and you read the synopsis of it, and you're like, this is a joke of a movie, right? And I just remember as a kid watching it on TV, and it was a terrifying movie to me.
Yeah, it's fucked up. The movie is super weird.
Mm-hmm. I honestly haven't even seen it since. I should probably watch that sometime.
What is the name of this fucking movie? It's a Dario
What?
Argento movie.
It's a what?
It's an Italian director named Dario Argento.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's Italian, right? Yeah, Italian. What the fucking name is this movie?
What was it about?
Um, so hold on, let me see. I'm on his list right now. It's not Suspiria. Is it Deep Red? Hold on. I want to say it's Deep. Hold on. Make sure I'm looking at the right one here.
I mean, at least Suspiria is a relatively new movie
Yeah.
too.
It's called Deep Red.
Okay, never heard of that one from. I've heard Suspiria.
Yeah.
Haven't watched it, but okay.
Most people, if you don't know, like Joe doesn't really know the name Dario Argento. He did Suspiria. He did Dawn of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead. He produced Dawn of the Dead, not wrote it or directed it. He produced it, if I'm not mistaken. And he's done a bunch of other ones. I mean, there's a ton of movies, including a movie called Dracula 3D. And not one you've seen, Joe. Trust me.
Trust me, I haven't seen any of those. Any Dracula 3D. I would know
it
if
has-
I saw something like that.
It has a Rutger Hauer in it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's from 2012, so I mean you could have seen it already. But yeah, so Deep Red is a Christmas movie.
I did not expect that at all.
Yeah. So let me get here real quick. There's not I don't think there's a synopsis of it, but basically a dude gets stabbed to death. It's basically starts with like a dude getting stabbed to death on like I don't know if it's on Christmas or during Christmas time, and then the knife falls at the foot of a child's feet. That's how it like starts,
Okay.
and then it jumps like 15 or 20 years into the future.
Okay.
And the dude is he works in like parapsychology or something. I don't know. It's hard to explain. See if I can try to find a fucking trailer for it. I mean, the movie was released in 1975, so
Wow.
yeah. I just remember it being like really unsettling.
Mm-hmm.
and like there's scenes in my brain I can think of. It's hard to explain because it's fucking wild. This is back in the day when I used to watch all sorts of weird shit.
Well, was this like a foreign film at the time?
It is. It's an Italian movie.
Yes. Okay. So was it like dubbed over or
No,
subtitled?
I used to watch. Yeah, subtitles. I used to watch the show all the time.
Okay.
And like I can't. There's no there's no actors in it that I could be like, hey Joe, it's this person, because they
No,
were all
I-
Italian
yeah.
actors.
Especially from 1970 something. I'm literally even thinking like it's probably even more of an indie project type thing. So it probably has some sort of like I associate black and white with indie films, even though it probably wasn't like that. But I can imagine that it was something like that.
So it was in color. I shouldn't say it's
Yeah.
not black and white. But I'm trying to see if there's. Oh my god, is it available to watch? Is it on AMC Plus?
Really,
Oh my god.
someone's gonna go watch that. Hey Paige, you want to see a Christmas movie?
Bro, she would never. Well, she may forgive me. Is there a fuck? Oh, there is a trailer.
She likes Terrifier.
Yeah, that's why I was gonna say. Which, by the way, Terrifier 3 is gonna be a Christmas movie. I don't know if you know that or not.
I didn't know that. I am so meh about
is-
that.
That is definitely not a Joe franchise.
It's not a Joe franchise.
No, because it is definitely gore for the sake of gore in a way that Joe does not enjoy.
Yes.
The first one. Now, so I say weird tangent to go on, but not a tangent. We were just talking about it. So it's not a super tangent, but the first movie. So I don't know if you know the history of Terrifier, Joe, and Art the Clown. So
You've explained it to me a little bit, but might as well go over it again.
Art the Clown started as a side character in an anthology film called All Hallows Eve.
Mm-hmm.
He was just this. It was just a bunch of short bits thrown in together, and it was. I don't want to say it was a throwaway thing, but like he wasn't the main bad guy in it. But he was like, I want to say his vignette was the longest.
Kind of like
Of
Trick
them?
or Treat.
Yeah, but like Trick or Treat as like Sam is like overarching over the whole thing.
And that's what I mean, but you had little vignettes of like the werewolves and
The
Actually,
bus
that's all
kids
true.
and all that fun
Yeah.
stuff and the
Yeah.
yeah. So you have that, and then horror fans were like, "Holy shit, Art the Clown's kind of fucked up," and it gave the gentleman who created it a chance to essentially make the first movie. And this first movie was very, very well. It was obviously independent and like low budget in a way, but expertly done. He did a great job with it. The effects were obviously practical. Well, not like like not real. It wasn't a snuff film, but it was like practical effects. But they felt it was very lacking of. I don't want to say lacking because it sounds bad. Very bare bones and like the aesthetics. There wasn't a lot of like story to go along with it. It wasn't like building a narrative. But the first one is very brutal. It's very narrow in scope. It's just like this one girl in this building, and then like all these things. But like Art doesn't talk. He's like a mime, but he's a clown. And you don't really know what's going on with it. But then the second one, they introduce a plot.
okay.
And they're pulling from things that happened in the first one. Obviously, it's a sequel, and then goes on from there, and it's very, in a way, very Michael Myers-ish in a way, and very Halloween themed. As basically he's this menacing creature that doesn't seem to be stoppable, especially because at the end of the first one he dies. And then when the second one begins, he comes back from the dead in a fantastic way. But he just like from where you go from the first one to the second one, the amount of gore is like 5 times.
Right.
Like-
People like this, so might as well multiply it.
Yeah, and it's not gore porn for the most part. Like it's less of like, oh, how can I shock you because of this? Art is just he thrives on it. So like it's pretty fucked up for the most part, like
I would
filleting a
imagine.
teenage girl open and then pouring salt on her.
It's kind of like Hellraiser. You know, they thrive on the pain of others.
Yeah, and he's a menace.
Mm-hmm.
He shotgun blasts a face off a lady and then shoves mashed potatoes into her face in front of her child.
Yep, I remember you describing those scenes.
Little things like that, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And that's why when people are like, "Oh, people were throwing up during Saw X," I was like, "Bro, watch Terrifier 2.
Yeah,
When that girl's with no face and like filleted open body turns and screams at her mom, you're like, that's fucked up." Little things like that. But yeah. So they released the second one back in theaters, just because movie theaters were needing something to be in theaters because the strike
Right.
was happening and no one could really promote movies. So a lot of things like Taylor would come to rescue, but they decided to do that. But they also threw a teaser for the third one on it, and basically you find out that it's a Christmas movie, and like the whole thing is like this little girl hears a noise, she comes downstairs, you realize it's Christmas time, you see Santa whose back's turned to her at the tree putting presents out, and she goes, "Santa," which you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to let Santa know. He knows. But you're not supposed to let him know that he knows that you're there. So she says that, and the camera switches to the front face of Santa, and it's art. And then he gets this big grin on his face that he always has because he can't really not grin because his mouth doesn't really shut very well. And then it cuts to him splattered in blood all over the walls, eating milk and cookies. And that's the teaser for it, making it. And then they showed a poster, and the poster's him with a Christmas tree with a bunch of severed body parts, ears and shit hanging up, and he's got what looks to be Santa's face hanging off of his face.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty fun.
Sounds like it. Sounds like a hoot.
Yep, it's a good time. I was looking up to see if there's there's a trailer playing on IMDb, so I'm going to see if there's a trailer I can send you, and then later post for Deep Red. Well, you can watch the
For Deep
Terrifier.
Red.
You can watch the Terrifier 3 teaser online. There is in 4K. Thank you, Arrow
Fuck
Video.
yeah.
Hell yeah, dog. It's so weird that like there's trailers for it. Just because it is older, but this trailer came out 2 years ago. Share.
Damn.
Obviously, don't watch it now because I'm not paying for the rights for that audio.
We're almost done anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was the movie I was trying to think of. I was like, I just remember the fucking the opening scene. Yeah, Deep Red really it's very unnerving, but a lot of Dario's movies were very. I mean, if you've ever seen Suspiria, the original, I haven't seen the new one because I kind of like don't know if I want to.
Right.
Just because Suspiria is like this super nostalgic-ish movie, and like there's just some things that don't need to be remade. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Anywho. There was something else I want to talk about, and I don't remember what it was. Nope, don't know what it was.
I basically had nothing this week.
All right, well, I guess we'll wrap it up early-ish, unless Joe has anything else he wants to say.
Bye.
Okay, so that's it for this week's episode of Comes Naturally. We have been
Joe.
I've been Cody, and as usual, you fuckers just came naturally.
Bye.
Bye again.